moving on to like VTubing as a business, because this is
Yeah,
something there was a lot of topics I want to cover here.
sure.
Um, would you say it's too late to start VTubing?
Absolutely not. I think anybody who has the mindset that thinks it's too late to do anything is just making excuses for themselves. I think that there's always room and there's always time to be able to start something new, and especially VTubing, because we talked about it earlier, Emberly, but we are only at the beginning of VTubing. Like, this is the beginning stages. There is so much transformation that's going to happen here. So I think if you can start now, better, but or good. But if you can't start till later, that's okay too. But they always say if you can't plant a tree today, tomorrow is the next best time to plant the seed, because then the tree will begin to grow. So I don't think it's ever too late.
Exactly, yeah, because I know a lot of people look at like like look at the VTuber scene right now and they think like, oh, it's way too saturated. Oh,
No
there's too
way.
many VTubers. And
Yeah,
like for myself, like I sort of see it, but also like I see like I feel like everyone's in this like competition mindset, and it's kind of needless in my mind,
yeah,
because I feel like right now the VTubing scene is sort of like a rising tides lift all ships moment. You know? Like we're still so small, and honestly, like I feel like we said in the beginning, yeah, like we are just in the start of this. Like I personally feel like VTubing still wildly underrated right now. Like
I
I
agree.
think it's wildly underrated, and and maybe that's why there's so many content creators and not a whole lot of viewers to see them, because it is underrated, but there's going to be growth soon. There's going to be at least a couple more
Mhm.
spurts of growth from this. And I think it's going to be more than a trend. What do you think?
I think it's the way of the future. I mean, like, having majored in graphic design myself, I like my first year of college, they talk a lot about brand identity and brand development. And, people use mascots, people have logos, but places like Wendy's and Burger King, people that have mascots, I think this is literally the future of branding and marketing. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's going to get only more immersive and more surreal, because this is the next way for people to bring their branding and marketing to the next level through actually bringing their characters to life.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know Star Guardian said that I heard the advice of trying to make a more unique avatar for new VTubers, as it'll give you more traction. For example, there may be 1,000 cat girl VTubers out there, but what about dragon VTubers or lizard VTubers, etc.? Um, my opinion on that, like, I think it's less about like what type of VTuber, like what kind of VTuber you are, and more so like what your content is. Like I know like a really flashy avatar design can get you a good way, but I think at the end of the day, it always comes down to content. What do you think?
Yeah, at the end of the day, content is king. It doesn't matter how good your avatar is if your content isn't good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, going back to what we were talking about before, like I feel like for one thing, Hololive essentially birthed the VTuber community that we see now.
Yes.
I would say that for sure. Because I know probably all my viewers have watched Hololive at some point. Like, honestly, sound off in the chat if you have watched Hololive, because I'm pretty sure all of you have probably watched Hololive. You know, like, so what are some interesting ways that you see people monetizing VTubing, or like what are some alternative pathways that people have been going with it aside from just streaming that you have seen? Like, have you seen anything interesting come out from there?
Um, Not as far as I know. Like, maybe stuff like Samsung Girl. The whole like Samsung Girl rave.
The Samsung girl? Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I think if anything, it's gonna be like specific company like driven type stuff. Other monetization too is like, for example, like Gargura. I'm not sure if I said her name right, but
Gargoyle,
like
yeah.
yeah, she was in like the Nacho Fries Taco Bell commercial, and then I heard too, False ID. He does like VTuber news. He had like put out a thing where he talked about how Niji Sanji has like menu items on the Wendy's menu. So like that's some interesting ways, I guess, that it's been also being able to be monetized.
Yeah, so I actually have some opinions about that. We'll go over
Yeah.
that later though. We'll go over that later in the stream.
Sure.
So, as a small content, like as like for the small content creators out there, what are some alternative ways that you suggest that they monetize their channel?
Yeah, so for small content creators, I think it depends definitely on your niche. Also, welcome in Dark Arc. I think it depends on your niche, but one of the best ways to monetize is through the Amazon affiliate program. Have you ever heard of that?
Um, no, I have not. What could you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so the Amazon affiliate program is like you could apply, anybody could apply, you sign up. And basically what happens is if you recommend a specific product from Amazon and people end up buying that product, you get commission for it. It doesn't cost the person any extra money. You just literally get commission for recommending an Amazon product. So one of the best ways to monetize as far as that goes is that you can basically say I did like a book review on my channel or something, or
Yeah.
actually let's make it more relevant to VTubing. Let's say like I'm talking about specific tech, like, oh, I think you should get this webcam to become a VTuber, or I think you should get the leap motion to become a VTuber. I
Yeah.
can use Amazon affiliate links, and on tech, I believe you make 4%, like 4% per like item. And
Mm.
I know it's different for every category, but the best way you can definitely like monetize and make more money is through Amazon affiliate links. So always trying to find a way to like maybe review products or talk about them and get people to buy stuff on Amazon, or two sponsorships, and that's like sponsorships I'd say for VTubers would probably be different tech companies if they're willing to work with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say like I would honestly go as so far to say that honestly anybody could be a full-time content creator.
Yeah,
Cuz I think everyone has that dream and I think everyone could reach it, but I think in some ways you would probably reach it in a way you wouldn't imagine.
yeah,
Like for one thing, like it's really easy to monetize other things that you are doing, right? Like even if you're not making money streaming, you like look at the equipment we're using. Look at the programs that we're learning. Like
hmm,
those are skills, those are assets. And
yeah,
like for one thing, like take that fancy DSLR camera that you have and like you can literally take that and start a whole photography business out of it and use the camera that you're using for your streams as another source of revenue to do photography for people.
yeah,
You could, I know some people, make VTuber models and do
yeah.
rigging and do
VTuber
Unity work.
assets,
Yeah,
rigging, yeah,
and I see a ton of artists making like full-time income from it, like
yeah.
tons.
It's opened so many jobs for artists and like animators, so many.
It's wild, and
Hmm.
I think that's something I think that's something that there isn't enough of at the moment. And it's like, hey, if you make a good model, like you absolutely could open up like commissions. Like I know my model is 100% self done. I've done it all by myself, and like I know that's something I could potentially market if I wanted to go in that direction. I just haven't really considered that. I also don't really have the time to do it because I have so many other projects in the back burner. But
Yeah,
it's something you can do. It's an option. Um,
agreed. And your model looks really good, by the way. I love your character's design.
thank you so
You're welcome.
much. I'm glad I'm glad you complimented it. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, and I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't really think like streaming as a primary source of revenue is good. What do you think about that statement?
I totally agree with you. I think that's kind of the thing I'm trying to escape currently as a creator because
Mm,
most of my income comes from Twitch. And I don't want that to be the case because then I always have to be live on Twitch. I'd rather be making passive income. And the best way to make passive income is through ways like monetization on YouTube, like Google AdSense. So just posting more YouTube videos and making money off of Google Ads.
uh,
Sponsorships, of course, that's another like essentially a passive well, it's still kind of active, but if you're making YouTube videos, it kind of applies for that. I
yeah,
think Twitch is a dangerous place to stay trapped in. If you're a content creator and your mindset is that you only have to stream on Twitch, you will not make it as a content creator. You have to expand beyond Twitch if you want to build your business because you always have to be live. And as long as you're selling your time, you're never truly free. And when you're live, you're selling your time for money, technically, if people are subscribing or donating bits or whatever the case may be. So I as a stream coach too, I try to steer people away from, as much as like the stream coach camp I'm a stream coach for, called Stream Coach Academy,
Mm.
is about streaming. We try to really preach monetization and finding other ways to make money by building products and making passive income, because it's Twitch is not enough, and you, unless you're like someone like Ludwig or someone who already has like thousands and thousands of viewers, and that's like a little bit of a different story, because those people are probably like set for life already. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's something like, and that's like one of the things I've been wanting to do as well, and one of the reasons why I'm also in the process of, branding myself as a YouTuber on top of what I already do, is because I really do like the idea of YouTube monetization. Though even though it is a way more like long form game compared to Twitch,
Yeah.
I like the idea of, my viewers being able to support me financially without them having to reach into their own pockets.
Yeah.
Like, cause I know, like, I have some very, very supportive viewers, who donate and, like, give bits and subs and everything. But it's like, I would rather them not feel like they have to, and I'd
Yeah.
rather give them other ways to do it, whether it be through, YouTube or like affiliate links or something like that, um, just to give them other ways of doing that, and that's something I'm currently like trying to build. um
Yeah, I
yeah.
totally agree with you, and I think like the best way to do that is through sponsorships then, because I know exactly what you mean. I don't really like to pull into like my viewers' pockets like that either, because again, I think that's I just think there's a better way. Like I'd rather make money from like corporate businesses that have like millions and millions like to give.
Yeah.
But like you said, I just want to be able to give back as free as much as I can to like my community. But at the end of the day, I'm still a content creator. I still got to make money somehow, or I can't keep giving my time to this. So like you said, I think the ultimate goal is there a way to really like be able to monetize myself without really having to expect my community members to support me? That way we're all thriving and we're all getting exactly what we want.
uh Now, curious, have you had any business experience prior to yourself being a content creator?
I'd say maybe a little bit, mainly because I have done like commissions before becoming a content creator, so a little bit of that, and I had some clients that I worked for where I do either graphic design work, logo design, or drawing. But this is really the first like big business like journey that I've sort of started embarking on.
uh
How about you?
So for myself,
Yeah.
so I mean, when I first did content creation in 2007, it was in middle school, so I had no business experience back then. Um,
Yeah.
but going into VTubing, I have a lot of business experience. So I got into like doing entrepreneurial stuff in well, it actually happened from a very early age because my father started a business when I was like 12, 13 years old, and like
Yeah.
literally one of my earlier memories was of like literally painting the walls of the shop of the shop, which still
Aw,
stands today, and the same paintwork and
so
everything.
cool.
And like there was always this sense of pride I had, working for the family business. Like I did so much work for my dad's business. Like I never asked him for any money. I just kind of like went ahead and like did stuff and helped out because it was cool and fun in my mind to just like build something like that, and to know that like the work I was doing made a lot of a difference, and not just my lives, but also like the customers and the clients that we had, you know.
Yeah.
And going from there into college, I actually ran an anime convention all by myself,
Ooh,
which was,
really?
yeah, it was crazy. It was a smaller college anime convention. I think the first year it
Wow.
had 150 people. The second year it had 300 some, and then the third year it hit 150 again because we had to take a year hiatus. But like
Yeah.
it was but like after that I was like hooked. I was like hooked onto like, okay, I can only ever really do something for myself at this point, cuz like I tried doing like the job thing, the 9 to 5 thing, and it just, I don't know, it's something about it just
It
isn't
feels
compatible.
meaningless, I think. That's like the hardest part
Yeah.
for me. I don't like to do meaningless work.
Yeah, that's the hard part for me, really, is that it feels
Yeah.
meaningless, and I couldn't do that anymore. Like literally like I started doing 9 to 5s, after college, and like I would literally go home and just be depressed, like just be
Yep.
really down. And I'm normally not a very down on myself kind of person. Like I'm not like a super depressed person, and I would just go home and I would just like kind of lay in bed. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
And I couldn't ever do it. And between that and like dealing with like office politics and like corporate stuff, it was so incompatible with me. And like pursuing and I pursued a degree in like digital media technology. So like I was like, oh no, am I stuck with this office work corporate stuff for the
Yeah.
rest of my life? But no, it turns out I wasn't. There's so many freelance ways of doing things, there's so many entrepreneurial ways of
Yes.
doing things, and there's also a lot of like cool and fun ways to use it, like for instance, being a VTuber and doing all this streaming stuff. So
Yeah.
like I so that's something I really came to appreciate. And from there I went ahead, I started learning about e-commerce. So I did a lot of like selling on Amazon, eBay, stuff like that. And then it blew up during COVID, because everyone was buying stuff online. So I eventually started full time as of like almost like about a year ago. It was like a month after my 1 year anniversary of being fully self-employed. So I did that,
That's awesome.
and
I'm
then
so happy for you.
yeah, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So like I do that, and I also had some free time. So I also got my real estate license, because I was anticipating the online selling thing to just be a side thing, and COVID made that not a thing anymore. It made it into a full thing, and I was thinking of keeping that as a side thing while doing like real estate as my primary thing, and
Mhm.
then it ended up being flip-flopped because I was still taking my real estate classes before COVID hit, and when COVID hit, they canceled the classes indefinitely until like almost the end of the year. So I wasn't able to get my
Wow.
license until the end of the year. And by then I was doing the e-commerce thing full time already. So now I just kind of do that. I do real estate, part-time, just to, get some experience in and get to learn it. And I also do real estate photography. So I also like take pictures of
Ooh.
listings and stuff like that. So I do, and that's using the DSLR camera that I was gonna use for streaming, but the cable to connect it to computer ended up breaking. And I know there's probably another way to
No.
connect it, but I'm not gonna figure it out. And now I'm using the freaking iPhone camera anyways, so
Yeah,
because
right.
for the tracking. So I don't even need to use the DSLR anymore. But no, I found going into content creation, there's a lot of like lessons that sort of cross over each other. In terms of
Yes.
like content creation in essence is very, very entrepreneurial.
Very,
Yeah.
very.
Yeah, like much more than I anticipated going in. Because I wasn't sure like the extent of exactly, because this was when I got into this, like this was the first time I was really doing it seriously, right?
Mhm.
So like I was going in and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure how much, entrepreneurial work goes into it, and it turns out it really is. And it
Yeah.
comes down to the fact that, like any entrepreneurial venture, content creation is a skill of professional problem solving.
Yes.
You're seeking content out there that people are looking for or people are trying to find, and making a space for it, and fostering that kind of community for it. You know?
Yeah.
So you're essentially a professional problem solver. In every single business I've done, you are just a professional problem solver. Like
Mhm.
any skill you have
Solving a problem
aside,
for a profit. That's what an
any
entrepreneur is.
like all skills aside, if you can be a very, very good problem solver, you could run like any business and honestly be very good at it. Like,
I agree, yeah.
like,
It's
because
such an
that's
invaluable skill.
yeah, because that's something I actually have a hard time with. Like, I have a hard time like figuring out problems and figuring out like what people like, kind of getting into people's heads in a way. Like, I actually have a kind of a hard time with that, you know.
Yeah.
And still like it's something I continuously still have a problem with, and I think content creation is really testing that for me, and it's been a really fun challenge actually.
That's really cool. It's really important to find something that you love but also challenges you because if it's too easy, it's not gonna be fun for you.
Oh, exactly. exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um so yeah. But what it came down to, my previous point though, is yeah, you're not going to want to have streaming be your primary source of revenue.
Yeah.
You're going to want to,
Absolutely not.
yeah, you're going to want to have like other forms, cuz it's not super stable, cuz subs ebb and flow depending on what's going on with whatever. So like
Yeah.
I see a lot of people that want to become like, full-time streaming, and they look at their Twitch numbers exclusively when there's so many other things they could be doing to monetize, and so many
So
ways they
many.
could diversify. Like even just like putting money in like stocks or something. Like,
Yeah.
that's literally just another way you can get income, like dividends or whatever, you know?
Right.
Like that's literally just another way you can do it, and you don't even have to do anything, you know?
Right.
Um so moving on to